All right, guys, that beautiful song ended, so it's time to get this thing on the road. And thank you all so much for being here. We're super excited to have you all here just because it's been a while since we had a Friday conversation. So thank you all for coming. We'll get back into the swing of things. We had Hall of Fame, which was awesome. And speaking of Hall of Fame, let's give it up for Minky Couture with our reps back there. So Minky Couture, if you guys were at Hall of Fame, they were one of our main sponsors there, and they had an amazing photo op. So if you guys were there, I'm sure you got to take advantage. I loved it. It was amazing. And then on top of that, I mean, go to LinkedIn, check out the photos. There were people who were just like hanging out. They had their Minky purses. They had their Minky scarves. There's so many Minky products that literally, like, I was like so pleasantly surprised. I was like, oh wow, there's like this cute little blanket with like a horse head that I can buy for my kid for Christmas. I'm like they've literally thought of everything. So keep them on your Christmas list, and treat your families. It's they're always there and they're amazing. And then today we're really excited to have Chayce Bolli from Utah, our World Trade Center, Utah. And so by show of hands, who actually knew that we had a World Trade Center here in Utah before today? Okay, you guys are all smarter than me. Not surprising. So yeah, we're super excited to have him here. World Trade Center Utah is actually a new partner of Silicon Slopes, and so we were super excited that Chayce was available and the top option to come today, and he was free to do that. So he's their business development manager. So we're just excited to have a really great conversation. Feel free to load up on pizza and save your questions here for the end. We'll definitely welcome those. But let's give a warm welcome to Chayce. I had him wait in the green room for like an hour, so he's like a guy coming out of the cave. Well, dude, thanks so much for being here again.
Yeah, glad to be
also,
here.
just funny icebreaker. So like he's dressed awesomely. He's got a great style, and today I came in with my black shirt and my jeans, and I saw him and I'm like, thank heavens he came not in like a suit, or I'm gonna look like even more than a fool. But dude, thanks so much again for coming. We know you're a busy guy, and so we were just really excited to have you here and wanted to kind of understand, just your background. I mean, I know you're like, BYU grad, only just like within the last few years here, and you've already had this amazing career and making this huge impact. So yeah, we just want to know like kind of what did life look like before World Trade Center Utah?
Yeah, well, I'm happy to go into that. I'll give you guys my life story a little bit. But so yeah, like you said, Chayce Bolli. Growing up, I moved around a bit. So I was actually born in Iowa. I don't think you stumble across too many people out here born in Iowa. Moved to Wisconsin when I was still pretty young. Lived there till I was 7. Still a diehard Packers fan to this day because of that. Then moved to Arizona. I was there for most of my life. Then I moved to Texas later on.
Dude, that's cool. I'm like connecting the dots there.
Yeah, exactly. No, I've got all climates. You could put me any terrain, and I'll be able to manage it all right. But throughout the whole process, though, I mean, still had a lot of roots to Utah. So my dad actually grew up in Ephraim, Utah, so small town, and my mom and him, they met at BYU. He played football there. She ran track. So as you can see, sports was a big part of my life growing up and just my family in general. And that's even initially what led me to BYU. So I came to BYU to play football initially. That didn't pan out as well as I'd like to. I played there for a couple years. Play might be a strong word. I'll say I was on the team for a couple years. But that was a great opportunity. But once that ultimately came to a close, that really opened up more opportunities for me to put more time and energy into both like my education as well as just job opportunities as well. So as far as BYU, I actually graduated just this last December from BYU. While I was at BYU, I studied, it's a relatively new major called Experience Design and Management. So I just wanted to put a little plug in for that major. So it's in the Marriott School. Like I said, relatively new. I think there's a lot of connections to like tech, especially with experience design and management. A lot of the professions you can go into coming out of that, it's like user experience, product management, really anything with an X behind it you can go into. So like customer experience, employee experience, list goes on and on. But while I was at BYU, just going through the business school, there was some like just prereqs that not prereqs, but just required courses that I had to take. And I was in a supply chain class, and that's really what got me focused on international business and interested in it. So yeah, I was just taking the intro supply chain class. My teacher was Simon Greathead, which some people might know. He's the president of the World Trade Association here in Utah. But we learned about something called the pest analysis. And I'm not sure if y'all are too familiar with it, but the pest analysis, it's a framework companies can use to evaluate foreign markets to determine whether they want to expand into them or not. So it's just like the PEST stands for like political, the E is for economical, S is for social and cultural, and then the T is technology. And it's just really a way to gauge to see if your company is a good fit to expand internationally. And when we were learning about it, I was just captivated by it. I'm like, that is the coolest thing. I couldn't stop thinking about it. And I actually reached out to that professor, Professor Greathead, and I just wanted to pick his brain on it. And I was just trying to get an understanding of, okay, what job opportunities are there in this realm? And that actually turned into me extending my time at BYU for a bit to do research with him. So I did that for a few months with him. It was just kind of a crash course on all things international business related. And that was really what led me to go down the more international business career path and ultimately kind of led me to the World Trade Center of Utah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's amazing. And then I kind of want to just like pivot back to what you said about like experience design management. Like, I just think it's really cool that BYU and just that we can like have other universities open amazing majors like that. We actually have a lot of people like in tech or even in slopes that was their major. And it's cool that exposed you to supply chain management, which led you to your career at World Trade Center. So I just think, I mean, I know we have an awesome little youngin right here who's going to have an amazing career. So I just think it's cool that, like you were saying, like that amazing new major. And I hope that we can continue involved with AI, universities, kind of evolving their programs. So that's amazing, and I love that really segmented us over into you with World Trade Center. And so let's kind of talk about what is World Trade Center Utah? What services do they have? Basically, I know there was a few people when we did the poll that have knew that we were here in Utah, but kind of just like for the layman and what do you guys do?
Yeah, great question. Because even for me, it wasn't until probably like a little over a year ago, I didn't know the World Trade Center Utah existed. So, I mean, a little background on it. So it's a private nonprofit. The mission of the organization is to help companies accelerate their international growth. And the overall vision is to make Utah the crossroads of the world for all things business related. So that's really like what we're trying to accomplish as an organization. And how we do this is through the services we provide. So even when I initially started at the World Trade Center Utah, I wasn't on like the business development side of the company, but I was actually on the business advisory team. So I'll start there. That's like our consulting service within the World Trade Center Utah. So typically what that looks like is we help companies determine which markets fit their company based off, what they do and just what the company cares for as far as the environments that they're operating in. So it's really like, we'll take that information, we'll be like, okay, here are some markets, some countries we feel would be good for you. And from there, we can do a more focused report on the specific countries. And then ultimately, we can even help them with a go-to-market approach. So that's more the consulting side of things. Even lately with all the tariffs, that's all we hear about. That side of the company has turned into a lot of supply chain optimization. And I can even say during my time there, a lot of what I was doing was helping companies to like nearshore their supply chain or find other markets where they could do a lot of their manufacturing in. So yeah, that's like more the business services, the business advisory team. We also have our investment team, which helps to bring companies into Utah because, Utah's a great environment. And yeah, just helping to attract business here. We have what we call the foreign trade zone, and that's more related to trade in itself. And the foreign trade zone, there's a lot I can go into it. I'm not an expert in it, but ultimately, like if you are shipping products to the U.S., the foreign trade zone can help to reduce, eliminate, or delay some of the cost of those duties. Also at the World Trade Center, what I would say one of our greatest capabilities is our network. So we have a lot of different functions to help companies here in Utah meet people abroad. We have business trips. We have a lot of events that are always going on. where people from outside the U.S. are coming, and you can come and meet them, interact with them, build your network abroad. So just off the cusp, like those are the main services that we provide at the World Trade Center. And yeah, I was completely unaware of it, so hopefully I can spread the good news on the World Trade Center, Utah, a little bit. But
absolutely, and you're doing an amazing job at doing that.
Thank you.
I was like, this guy knows, this guy knows what he's talking about. He's like, has this awesome job. He's been graduated for like a few months, and he's already like an expert in this huge nonprofit that's serving the world. So, dude, I'm a fan.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So I wanted to kind of go a little bit more in depth. Kind of relate to what you were just talking about, and I am going to read straight from my note card because I want to make sure I'm not botching your industry.
Yeah.
But so like basically just wanting to know like regarding like the industry, you know, you guys are in economic development, international trade services. So like what have you noticed that those industries are doing that's new or innovative at this time?
Yeah, well, something I can say that's very new, like I touched on this a little bit, is things related more to the supply chain side of things. Companies are having to get pretty creative. They're having to figure out, okay, how do we pivot our supply chain? So I can say, like, typically before I came to the World Trade Center, the main function our services were providing was, okay, how do we expand internationally? Like, which countries do we go to? And that there is still like some of that occurring, but one of the main things that we're doing now is helping people optimize their supply chain. Because I mean, some companies with the tariffs that they were getting hit with, if they didn't figure that out pretty quick, like their company's not going to survive. So there was like there's numerous companies that I was working with, helping them define like which countries have like the capabilities to manufacture in the areas that their company needs, and helping them to make those connections on the ground, find the manufacturers there, which is a bit of a process. But I mean, that's just the service that we provide with the World Trade Center to help with that. And as far as like, cause you were kind of wondering about like some innovation, I know this is Silicon Slope, so I know it's very tech based. That's like when you think of Silicon Slopes, that's what it's geared towards. But this is kind of unrelated to World Trade Center. I can just say from the time I was doing research, something that I think could be of interest to just the more tech-oriented people of Utah is something called like Industry 4.0, which I'm not sure if you've heard of before. I remember doing research into it, but it's basically how AI is going to be involved with manufacturing. Because that's like kind of the battle that we're going to be fighting if we're trying to bring more manufacturing stateside is, okay, just the cost of labor. Like this is going to be a huge expense on just like our P&L. And with Industry 4.0, it's looking at, okay, how can we use AI, things like 3D printing, technology like that, so the supply chain can keep up with those costs that maybe are lower abroad, that aren't as like tech-based, I guess. So that's something that might be worth looking into for those that are watching in the crowd. That's something that I think is going to be new and we're going to need to lead into to stay competitive.
Yeah, that's amazing. Because, I mean, the future is changing, and it's amazing, right? AI is amazing, and like every day we're all learning so much more, and it's great that you guys are catching on to that. You guys are like this organization, you know, you're already serving so many people, and you guys are going to be ahead of that and continue to serve people into the future. I love that. So I know you kind of hit on this, but is there any other like future plans or goals that you think are interesting that World Trade Center Utah has?
Yeah. So I brought it up, like I guess the overall vision of the World Trade Center of Utah is to make it the crossroads of the world. For Utah, the size of the state we are, I feel like we're definitely punching above our weight as far as what we do as a state. So I guess the environment, like the ecosystem that we have to make that a reality, I think Utah is very unique because for the size of the state that we are, it's pretty remarkable to me just the amount of industries that we have that are like top performers. Like I mentioned, Silicon Slopes, you think of tech when you think of Silicon Slopes, and that just involves like SaaS and AI. So that's something that we've developed a lot of efficiency in. But also there's aerospace and defense. Utah is one of the leading states in that. There's agriculture, there's mining for critical minerals, biotech. There's so many things for how small of a state we are. It's remarkable that we're really like separating ourselves and competing with some of the bigger states. And so obviously that's going to attract a lot of companies to Utah. Even just like if you look at the location of Utah, we're close to a lot of major cities, a lot of major ports on the West Coast. And also for logistic reasons, we run right between Canada and Mexico. So there's going to be a lot of just supply chain, just more logistics that are going to be coming through Utah. So I'm really excited to see over time as this compounds, because Utah's got a great entrepreneur spirit. I mean, there's a lot of people moving here. There's a lot of things going on. So it'll be really cool to see that come to fruition over time.
I love that. And I just love that when our guests come here, because, and this is what I really love about our partnership, is that I feel like Silicon Slopes and World Trade Center Utah, we're both on the same page. We love Utah. We see like everything that Utah is doing now and what it can become in the future. So I love that. I just like whenever our guests are like talking, I'm like, oh yeah, they're a Utah fan. Obviously, they're here. So before we head over to questions, I just wanted to kind of like just bring it back to Utah again. I know you kind of just talked about it, but kind of maybe more on like a personal level, kind of tying back to like your background before we got it started. Like what do you love about building your career in Utah? I mean, obviously, you're starting your career here with Utah, with World Trade Center Utah. Like, what gets you excited about starting a career here and hopefully continuing into Utah? I mean, dude, if you're already here, with this role that you have at this age, I mean, we're gonna be seeing you. We're gonna be inducting you in the Hall of Fame one day. I'm sure of it. So that's why I'm glad we snatched you right now. But tell me, just like about like building your life, maybe your family life, or things that are important to you in your life, and tie it back to living a life in Utah.
Yeah, what's really impressed me with Utah is just like the sense of community that you can find here. And even something that's been pretty eye-opening to me working at this World Trade Center Utah is how much people in Utah are willing to collaborate and help one another. One thing that one of the main services we offer is like our business trips. So we help Utah companies make some connections with like just more global players in specific markets. But one thing because I've been very involved helping in those, like I've helped with one in Mexico, one in South Korea, business trip to Canada as well. So obviously these companies, they get a lot of benefit from those that they meet in those countries. But what's always pretty ironic is on these trips, I would say one of the most beneficial things is just the people they went on the trip with. Just the network that they build, the synergies that they find as they go on these business trips. And I think that's just like a microcosm of what Utah is. Like I've realized this through my time being here, like how willing people are to help if you're willing to ask. So that's why I'm really excited to start my career here. I think Utah's still got like that pioneer spirit of just like move fast and break things and just push ahead. And I think that's a great place. Yeah, it's true. But yeah, I'm excited to be a part of that because I know there's going to be a lot of great opportunities with that. And yeah, I'm excited and anxious to see what comes my way.
Heck yeah. Well, you're doing amazing things. You're going to keep doing that as well.
Thank you.
According to Scott and according to everyone else.
I'll take it.
But yeah, let's open it up for questions. We have Russ, who is awesome, such a huge supporter of our Friday conversations. Check out his business, Russ Simon Leadership Solutions. If I'm saying it right, I'm sorry. But yeah, who has a question? And Russ, will come to you.
Hey, I'm Daniel Simon. So you seem to like change your direction for your career pretty quickly. What do you think helped you like switch gears and learn about this new direction you're going into like so quickly?
Yeah, it's a great question because it is funny. Sometimes I look over my academic and just career in general, and I do feel like it's bounced around a lot. I feel like something that I guess it's very applicable to me is just in general, when I find something I'm interested in, I really like dive deep into it, and I'm looking for if there's potential in it. And obviously that interest is there, so I know it's going to be something that long term I'm going to continue to be passionate about. So, I mean, really like at this point in our life, because we're both young, like I think there is that liberty to try new things and see if it's something that fits and suits us. Because I remember throughout the process of trying to figure out like what I want to do, I was meeting with so many people and talking to them, and something I heard so many times is like, don't feel like your first job or your first career is gonna totally determine like what you do in your life. There's so much room to pivot and to figure out what you want to do. Because I'm still learning as I go, so I would really just encourage you to, if there's something that interests you and you see potential in it, give it a go. And if it's something that doesn't exactly suit you, there's totally room to pivot. So yeah, just like I mentioned, just move fast and break things and see how it goes.
I love that.
Yeah.
Chayce, thanks for coming by today. It was an interesting talk, and as someone who has lengthy experience in international business and so forth, but relatively new to Utah, my question to you is, and maybe you mentioned this and I missed it, but what would you say are maybe the top 3 or whatever 5 markets for Utah, and what do you mentioned, I think the last few sentences, opportunity for the future. What can you elaborate a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so I'll start maybe first on markets, and then we'll move towards, what was the second part of the question? Maybe if you could repeat that.
Yeah, the second, what do you see as the opportunities for Utah?
Okay.
As far as international markets, to be clear.
Perfect. Yeah, so as far as like international markets, so like to go back towards the World Trade Center, I've realized like we've got a lot of cool services that we provide, but I think the network that we have is what sets us apart, because so much of international business is actually knowing people in market to make it a smooth transition. It's one thing to tell a company, okay, go to Australia, but if there's like no connections there, it's a lot easier said than done. So with Utah, specifically, I mean, with the World Trade Center, some markets that I could just rattle off the top of my head that we have good connections with is South Korea, Canada, Mexico. And then there's companies that we do a lot of like with as well, like Australia is one that I mentioned. But even like to shed a little bit more light on that, even something that not a lot of people know as well is we actually have 2 full-time employees in South Korea. That's really our gateway to Asia. We've been doing a lot with them, so much to the point that we opened an office out there. And I know it's like early on they're still figuring this out, but I know in some of those other markets, they want to also open open offices for World Trade Center of Utah in those markets to help just further facilitate those connections. So hopefully that answers your question. Was there anything else you were wondering? Or?
I guess more specifically, what kind of industries do you see growing, let's say, whether it's Asia or Europe or somewhere, opportunities in that respect? Like,
yeah, that's a great question. Yeah. So within those, I mean, it's really dependent on the market, because obviously each market has different needs. I know one, because like with the World Trade Center in Utah, we work pretty closely with the governor, and I know what he's been really putting a lot of his weight behind is things like critical minerals, technology, obviously, aerospace and defense. I know there's a few others that I'm missing, but those are things that are really buzzwords and things that we hear a lot in our organization. And a lot of like the business trips that we're doing are revolved around that. Advanced manufacturing is another one too that's been pretty big. So those are some areas that you hear a lot about at the World Trade Center Utah, and that's coming from the politics side of things and businesses. So hopefully that sheds a little bit more light on it.
Do you have any insights, first on what's going to happen with the Utah State Prison in Bluffdale, the timeline of that development and what is that attracting new interest from businesses to move here, and also the development around Salt Lake City Airport. I hear there's a lot of development because the new airport and the new, as far as a hub of e-commerce or whatever.
Yeah.
And what businesses you see considering moving here or are moving here that are just about to happen?
Yeah, great question. So I can say you're talking about the prison that was at the point of the mountain, right? Yeah. So personally, I know that's going to be there's a lot better use for that land than a prison, given all the business that is going on here. As far as who's moving there, I'm not too exactly aware of just yet. I'm sure that'll come to fruition. I need to do some more research in that and hopefully get back to you on that. And then with the airport as well, I mean, I'm excited to see a lot of the growth in there, around there. I know there is a lot of manufacturing around there, because, I mean, we have an inland port there, so there's going to be a lot of freight coming through there too. I mean, just for like bringing in products and shipping them out. And even with the airport, one thing that is amazing is like that's an international hub for Delta. I know we have like 12 direct international flights now. 2 that have been announced this year is one to Lima direct, one to South Korea. So as far as the businesses that are coming into that area, I'm not 100% sure of just now, but just the environment that there is there, I'm really anxious and excited to see what will come. So sorry I don't have the exact answers on that. It's something I need to get more in the loop of. So thanks for showing me some things that I need to do more study on.
Russ, you had a question?
Yeah, thanks. I guess a two-part. One, I'm curious to know your own growth in this new role. Like, what are you really excited about with your own growth? And then secondly, I guess I was surprised, maybe I shouldn't be, to hear that the World Trade Center Utah is a nonprofit. Is that correct?
Correct.
And maybe what, I get the distinction between for-profit and nonprofit, but maybe what is the purpose for World Trade Center Utah being a nonprofit, so we could understand that. Why choosing that role?
Yeah. So I'll start off first with some things that I'm excited about with my new role. It's a really cool opportunity for me being like the business development manager at this point in my career, because I'm young, I'm learning stuff, and my job is now turned into going all over Utah, meeting companies, understanding their needs. So it's a great opportunity to build my network. So I'm really excited about that, because I moved into this role just within probably the last month and a half or so. Even just this last Monday, I actually got back from a trip from Ghana where I served my mission. So I haven't been able to really sink my teeth into as much as I'd like. So I'm excited to get going with that. So that's what I can say I'm excited about with this role. And then you were wondering about the World Trade Center being a nonprofit. So with the World Trade Center, the goal of it is to really help smaller companies and those, because Utah, it's a big startup environment. There's a lot of entrepreneurs. We want to be able to provide services to Utah companies that maybe don't have the money to go to, say, like the McKinseys, the Bains, the BCGs. So with us being a nonprofit associated with the government, we do get some funding from them to make it more affordable for Utah companies to get our services. It is interesting because it is private as well. There are some services that need to be paid for. But overall, the goal of it is to have something that is more affordable for Utah companies to help to evaluate international markets.
Obviously, as everyone can see, Chayce is super awesome, and that's why we were so excited to have him on, not just because of, what he is bringing to World Trade Center Utah and, just kind of being that, beacon for them along with his other members of his team, but also just the cool individual he is, how far he's come so far already in his short career. He's definitely someone to watch. And then, I'm just really grateful for everything you shared about World Trade Center Utah. I feel inspired to learn more about the organization. Follow their LinkedIn, check in on updates on their website. And I'm just really excited for the ways you guys are going to grow into the future. So dude, just thank you so much for being here. And I'm sure we all appreciate it, and those watching the live stream. And we hope to have you back soon.
Yeah, thank you, Scott. Glad to be here. It was great to talk to y'all today. But talk to me if you have questions. Go to our LinkedIn, our website, and reach out. But grateful to be here.
Thanks, dude.
Thank you.